This happened to a close friend of mine from work, who told me this last night, and it sufficiently creeped me out. So her mother's in the hospital, and she was on her way home from visiting her one night last week. She stopped at the 24-hour Tesco on the way back to get some groceries and petrol. So it was around 10 p.m. when she finally set off for home, the journey to her house taking around 40 minutes. About 5 to 10 minutes into the usually routine trip home, she noticed a car coming up close behind her, flashing the lights as if trying to pull her over. It was just as she was approaching a few miles of the road that were fairly deserted, save for a couple of houses but mainly flanked by fields on either side. It was dark, so she couldn't make out the car or driver, but was fairly certain it wasn't a police car. Besides, she's a careful, teetotal driver with a fully functional vehicle. There should have been no reason for someone to pull her over. Also, she's not naive that she would just stop on this lonely stretch of road for anyone, without a good reason. The other driver was persistent though, and alternately pulled really close, then backed off and flashed the lights. The car continued to follow closely and flash her. It was only as they entered a more populated area, and more cars were driving around, that the flashing lights and tailgating stopped. Still right behind her though. At this point she was significantly freaked out, but in panic moment of the time. She couldn't think what to do and still wasn't positive she was being followed. But that was just wishful thinking, she said. The small town where she lives has a huge and very busy, day and night as truckers use it to get on the motorway. That must be navigated carefully. It's very easy to take the wrong exit, especially if you're unfamiliar with the area. She waited until the last second before pulling out just before a truck, hoping that the Car-Stalker would get stuck behind a stream of traffic. She could easily lose the car after that, she'd thought, as where she lives has so many roundabouts that if you don't know where you're going, you'd be lost without a GPS system. Her heart sank though, when she heard the honk of a truck horn behind her, and looking in the rearview mirror, realized Car-Stalker had took a chance. He pulled right out after her and was again now right behind her. With absolutely no doubt now that she was being targeted, her mind raced and all she could think was that she couldn't drive home, or even to her daughter or sister's house, as she didn't want to lead the person right to her or her family's door. She grew up in the town though. She knows all the shortcuts, dead ends, roundabouts like the back of her hand. So she proceeded to lead a merry dance around the area, up a street, down a street, round a roundabout, double back, and so on. This went on for a while, maybe an hour or more she estimated. Earlier she had almost skipped getting petrol as she knew she wouldn't have enough to get home. At this moment, she was thanking her lucky stars that she had got it, or she'd be breaking down right about now. The car was still following, but at a further distance this time. She suddenly pulled without indicating onto a long main road where there was about 10 or 12 identical streets, running parallel to each other all the way down the road. These led up to cul-de-sacs that pretty much all looked the same. Seeing no sign of a car behind, she swung into a random street, drove up a little behind another car, then killed the engine. Ducking down after 5 to 10 minutes of what she described felt like holding her breath. She had another check of her surroundings, and it appeared she had lost the stalker. Full of relief, she turned around, pulled out of the side street, and there he was. She could make out the outline of a man in the driver's seat, so she knew for sure now he was male, which somewhat made it so much worse. He had pulled up on the opposite side of the main road and was just waiting for her. Like he knew where she'd gone and was just taunting her. Frozen for a second, she was unable to gather any more details before she got it together and sped off in the opposite direction. It took about another 30 minutes of cat and mouse, plus around 20 minutes waiting it out before she finally lost him. She was on the right side of a 4x4 which obscured her car, and she switched off all the lights before he had the chance to follow her. She waited even longer this time though. She was sure he'd be waiting, but he must have got bored or lost her. She was looking over her shoulder the whole way home though, and she still does now. In hindsight, she'd realized the best thing to do would have been to go to the nearest police station, or at least call them, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. The next day she was telling her daughter, who was furious with her for not calling the police or telling her sooner. She did not make a report at first, so eventually she went down to the local police station, and she was disturbed at what she discovered. Firstly, her report was not the only one. 2 other women had reported almost identical experiences. One of them had called the police while being followed and asked if there was any unmarked police vehicles in the area that may be signaling for her to pull over. They indicated that there was not any such vehicles and advised the woman to pull into a nearby well-lit and staffed service station, which would be much safer, and then they could take her report. The man soon took off when he saw where she was headed. The other woman had managed to lose him also by driving towards the police station. This one was in broad daylight. There may be more women who just haven't reported it. Even more worrying, the police suspect the stalker is already convicted rapist who has recently been released from prison. The MO in his previous crimes matches this. He would pose as a concerned fellow driver, pull a woman over with some bullshit about a light being out on her car or whatever, then pull her into the back of the car and rape her. They have been unable to charge him with anything so far, as fortunately he has not managed to succeed in his tactics this time. It is worrying to think, though, that this guy might have actually raped someone before he can be arrested, and he's in my local area. So weird and creepy Car-Stalker? Let's not meet. This was my first time ever going to Hawaii with my family. I am male, and at the time of our vacation I was 14. I'm now 24 and was just thinking about the day at the beach. This day could have changed my life forever. Enough with the background, let's get down to business. So the day was warm and beautiful, obviously. It's Hawaii, right? Our hotel is a short 5-minute walk from the beach access. Some of my family members and I were at the beach in Waikiki in the middle of the afternoon that day. My cousin and I decided to swim out past the shallow water to the deep blue. As we started getting out there, the waves started growing in size and visibility was zero. One of my biggest and most crippling fears is drowning in the dark depths of the ocean. I lost sight of my cousin because of the surprising amount of people that were out that far. When the increasing waves started crashing in, I started bobbing up and down. I started getting dizzy amongst all the boats passing by and the sea of people swimming trying to look for my cousin. This is the part that really creeped me out. Out of nowhere, I felt a cold, clammy hand over my mouth and felt this person holding on to my body. My first thought was it was my cousin, so I turned around smiling. Then I realized that this was a total stranger. The man appeared to be of Hispanic descent and in his mid-20s. I was frozen in fear in that moment, and I asked him, what are you doing? At first I was trying to laugh it off, and then the man laughed back in a sinister tone and said absolutely nothing. My heart was beating out of my chest at this point. After the awkward stare, I immediately started swimming away as fast as my arms and legs would carry me. I was so scared and I didn't even look back to see if the man was giving chase. My adrenaline was soaring as I was trying to find my cousin and trying to get back to shore. I felt like my arms and legs would give out at any second. When I finally got close to the shore, I came across a lifeguard paddling out on his longboard. He seemed totally stressed out when he asked me if I had seen a man trying to drown swimmers in the deep. I was in shock and couldn't even form a thought, let alone respond to the lifeguard's question. This man was actually trying to kill me. And even more scary, I wasn't the only one. This sick fuck was enjoying terrorizing the beach. He was inflicting on the swimmers at Waikiki Beach. When I finally reached shore, I met up with my cousin walking on the beach. It was such a relief to finally find him. I didn't want to freak everything out and ruin my vacation. Even though I tried to forget about this moment, I still feel a weird presence anytime I go to any beach. I always make sure I don't swim out too far beyond the shore alone. Cold, clammy-handed degenerate? Let's never meet again at Waikiki Beach, or any other beach for that matter. Thanks for listening, guys. Sinful Savant here. Please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to join the Sinful Nation. And email me any stories that you guys have. My email is in the info box below. I would love to hear from you guys. So until next time, stay sinful.